Does my hair look good there, Mary
Your
Anthony?
hair always looks good.
I want to make
Rick.
sure that, I don't get yelled at because I've got so many things to do after we get off of here of Younger Life Live. And I know you as well, as we're going to be across the world with all of our appearances. If you want to hire Rick or Mary, call us
across
at
the
Younger
world
Life Live.
in our own county.
Now, Jackie came into the Younger Life Live studios
I
today,
was
shaking her
listening.
head crazy. Sanders, of course, our executive producer, thinks that we're just weird to begin with. And then, of course,
Well, I think you both were a little weird this morning.
Yeah.
It was funny, though. I laughed. I laughed all the way to work. I
on the
liked it.
radio side of life, because we're going to do something, what we call here on Younger Life Live, Man Talk Mondays.
I heard with Mary Anthony, no, boys are gross. We all know that.
Boys are gross.
Oh, but we love you. We love you.
You see, we're about having fun, staying healthy, younger, longer, all that good stuff. I have to say this. Welcome to Younger Life Live. I'm Rick Federici.
And I'm Mary Anthony.
All right, so we've got Ask the Pharmacist today,
I
right?
know. Yes, and last time we, just due to some technical difficulties, didn't. So it's been like a month.
Yeah.
Since we've talked to Jeremy.
And thank you to Brendan and Steve and all the great crew over at Younger Life for making the connections work today.
Getting it happening.
You guys all deserve a raise.
There we go.
Thank you to the LaPorte Hospital for sponsoring this hour, of course. And we have a great show. We always have great topics, I feel.
I do too.
You could watch it on youtube.com right now, youngerlife.org. You could see those billboards all over Indiana, Chicago, Michigan, everywhere. When I roll up to a billboard and I wave to me, I don't wave back.
Yeah, but you wink if you watch.
Rare.
You wink at me when I drive by.
I do. You think Jeremy's ready for us?
I think he is. I saw him on Skype, which
He
is
looks really
fabulous.
good, yeah.
I know, it's always nice to
Did
see
he
him.
did
He's so
he
good.
like get like a new beard or something going there or what? Dude, what's going on? How are you?
Can you guys hear me?
I
We
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
All right, I can't see you guys, but I'm doing good. And no, it's the same beard that I always have. Maybe I'm just a little less shaven this morning.
You look good, man. It's that young, hip, cool look. It reminds
I'll
me
take
of,
it.
It reminds me of my Lollapalooza stuff this past
Yes,
weekend,
I bet.
dude. All the young people, all the young men had beards and chests, and then there was Rick Federici.
Oh, please.
No facial hair and absolutely no chest. So welcome back to Younger Life Live. Great to have you aboard. Mary, I know you've assembled some great questions for some of our viewers and listeners this morning.
Yep, I always try to keep a list going when people send us questions, and any that we don't get to, I just keep aside for the next time. So please, if anybody out there does have questions,
Sure.
you can get them in this hour. And if it's after the hour, still send them in, and we touch base with Jeremy every couple weeks. So
Yeah, and I want to throw this
Definitely
number
get 'em
out.
out
Write
there.
this down for Mary, Rick, and Younger Life Live, 219-861-1632, 219-861-1632, broadcasting from the Younger Life Live studios. Thank you, LaPorte Hospital. So let's talk about some of the stuff we've got going.
Well, first of all, I'm curious to know how Jeremy's summer's going. It's been like a month. And we've talked about so many vacations. You've had your vacation. I had my vacation. We have our Younger Life Challengers have been on vacation and going on vacation. So it's been all about vacations. Have you, Jeremy, taken any summer vacations?
I haven't had any time off yet this summer. I did take a vacation back in May.
Oh.
Most of my vacations are work vacations. I typically stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I am putting a new driveway in at my house.
Oh, wow.
And I had a limestone driveway, and I'm cutting all that out, and I'm putting in recycled asphalt.
Oh,
been,
wow.
and it's been I've been out in the sun, so I probably look a little bit darker. Maybe that's why I look different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? Working vacations like that, although that's rough, it feels so good. We just got back from Florida and we had a great time. But, you come home and you feel that pressure of, oh my goodness, everything's out of control at home. The
Everything's up for grabs.
Everything is a wreck, and you think, wow, is it? Of course it's worth it, but it's so
Sometimes when you
nice
go
to stay
away,
home.
I feel like it's more work. It's like I get back and I'm not
Absolutely.
rested at all.
Oh,
So,
yeah. You get back, you're exhausted, and then you're looking at an overgrown yard and piles of laundry and, all of those fun things.
This is where the family all helps out. I have to ask you this question. So limestone, for the viewers and listeners, is that like almost like a driveway that's cement? Explain that. Or is it just like crushed? It's like ours?
Mm-hmm.
It's like stone and stuff? Explain that.
Yeah, so limestone it's just crushed, so it's very small, but like over time, it's just really broken down. It's like a powder.
That's
Yeah.
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 There's potholes in it and stuff like that. And I'm just tired of the potholes and all the weeds growing in it. So I made a nice, real clean cut out, and we're putting recycled asphalt down. I can then run a roller over it, and no weeds or anything should grow in it because asphalt's kind of like an oil-based substance. Um, so I think it'll look really good. It'll almost be like a real asphalt driveway. We're just using old stuff.
Now,
nice.
let me ask you: if you don't mind me asking, is it a much more cost effective? In other words, cheaper to do it that way?
Well, it depends on who you know and where you can get
Okay, no,
There you
because that's
go.
a great
very
question.
cost effective, because we have stockpiled some. We were able to get some for free.
Oh, nice.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
for me, it's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like
Definitely worth
that.
it. So that's a great vacation, though. That's a nice way to spend time off again.
You could wake up when you want. B, you could work as long as you want. C, it's kind of there's no stress. You don't have to say I'm getting home at X and I have to stop by.
Race
You could just
back
keep
out,
doing your
yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, that feels good.
which is great. So family's doing good as well, Jeremy.
Everything is perfect.
Nice.
Can't complain.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, then can we just jump on into our listeners'
Let's do it,
questions?
man. Let's just go with it. We had a listener call and bond a little bit with Mary, and Mary was chatting with myself about this. Had called about her allergies and said they were really hard this season. You want to expand on
we've
this
talked
one?
about this numerous times into a couple different doctors, honestly. But she said she's really having a rough season, which we, from everything we've done on our shows with the different doctors, said it was going to be a rough allergy season. She said she currently is taking Zyrtec D daily. And she wanted specifically us to ask you if there's anything that she can take during the daytime if her symptoms reappear. She asked, she said, I know you guys have talked about allergies a lot, but in this case specifically, she wants to make sure that it's not an overload on her.
Why is it making her sleepy? May I ask?
She didn't say that.
Okay.
She just said, I take this Zyrtec D daily, and she wants to know if there's anything she can take intermittently throughout the day
Good
if symptoms
question.
should pop up.
Thanks for that question.
I said we would definitely ask.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I do think that would be imperative to know exactly what symptoms that she is having. You know,
Okay.
whether it's more like runny eyes or if it's more of a runny nose. I'm just going to assume it's a runny nose because that's usually the most common and that's what people tend to dislike the most.
Yeah.
I was actually in the pharmacy, I think 3 weeks ago, maybe, picking up my own prescription. And I just caught one of those end caps on the shelves and saw that they had Rhinocort right on the end of the shelves, like in the allergy section.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow, Rhinocort's OTC now. It's over the counter. And I didn't know that. So if somebody is having issues with like a runny nose or something like that, and they want to maybe supplement, they actually take an allergy pill. If their main side effect is going to be a runny nose, I might just try switching to something called Rhinocort. I believe Nasacort is over the counter too. Those used to be prescription medications that
They
you could
were.
only get with prescription. And basically you just inhale a puff into each nostril, and it's like it's basically a steroid, and it's going to help keep you from having a runny nose if you take it all the time.
Is it a mist
So
then?
actually, when I saw that, I was really impressed. I'm like, wow, that is really awesome. I think I might try that in the future, if I have any issues.
Wow. So is it a mist, like a?
When you say mist, you mean when we squeeze it, it comes
Yeah,
out like
that's
a
what
mist?
I'm curious when he said
Yes,
you.
it has like a pump spring on it, and you just
Okay.
put it in your nostril, and you would pump one spray on each side, and it should help you with runny nose, at least the nasal part of allergies.
Is that addictive?
Fabulous. But if you're taking Zyrtec, it usually gets you through the day. I would say that you could take another. Most Zyrtec is more of a longer acting one, so you can only take one a day. So I might take something that maybe lasts a few hours. There are some other allergy medications that you could supplement with it. I wouldn't always be supplementing with it, but if you're having like having a really hard time one day, there's one out there called Alivert. Generic name is chlorpheniramine.
Okay.
That lasts about 4 hours, I believe. So you can take that several times in a day. So I might supplement with something like that. if you're adding these together, you're always may have the effect of being drowsy. So
Okay.
I would just keep that in mind that if you do start taking more allergies, the main thing that you're going to have is maybe some more drowsiness.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about that Rhinocort. Or anything
I had
similar
never
like
heard
that.
of that.
I hadn't either. I'm curious. Is that you said it's like a steroid. Is that addictive?
It is, I would say it's not addictive.
Okay.
I guess it would be addictive if it takes care of all your allergies and you love it, but no, not as a substance, it's not addictive.
Okay. Okay. Good. I just wanted to make sure for that listener. At least that gives her a couple options, something else she can try if she's really struggling. We had a listener send in an email about what are the benefits of CoQ10.
And could you describe what that is, please?
I've seen the supplement actually. After I noticed it after I got that email in the regular grocery store, just going through, I passed by the pharmacy and I saw it and I thought, I'm not really exactly sure what it
What
does.
It do? Right,
yeah,
exactly.
and what the benefits would be. So.
Yeah, and I don't know that they actually know what the actual mechanism of action is in the body.
Okay.
But something that's called a coenzyme, just taking it by the name, would be something that assists an enzyme in your body to complete something. It's like its partner. So it's helping doing something in the body, and so it's helping an enzyme. So what does an enzyme do? Enzymes basically carry out all the functions in your body, whether it has to do with breaking things down and getting rid of them. Enzymes, of course, are very important. Your GI tract's full of enzymes that help break down food so you can digest them. I do know that based on what they use it for and some studies, there are some limited studies on coenzyme Q10 that do show that I believe it mainly helps with muscle. So it's found more in the muscles, and there have been some studies that when people are getting older and they may have some type of heart failure, that coenzyme Q10 can actually help the heart contract a little bit better.
Wow.
Now, I say that with very loose evidence, and the American College of Cardiology recommends not using coenzyme Q10 to treat any kind of cardiovascular disease at this point.
Right. Well, and like we always say, every supplement, I don't care what supplement you're taking, you really should run it by your doctor.
Absolutely agree.
You know, we know we don't want to put you on the spot, Jeremy. We know we're just asking you for your opinion, you know, because you are a pharmacist, but we also understand that you do not want someone to go out and try to treat their own issues.
Remember, we're
without
not doctors,
talking to their
Mary
doctor,
Anthony.
because we certainly are not doctors.
One more time. We
are
not doctors.
We are only relaying the questions that the listeners have. But I think that I appreciate you telling us about the full, you know, the history as far as any studies that you've read. I think that is completely valid. But I completely agree when don't just try to treat your own issues. Definitely talk to your doctor. But it is interesting to know.
Great question that came from an instant text as they listen to us online, YoungerLife.org. You could view us on YouTube.com. Of course, Ask the Pharmacist. Rick and Mary here, Younger Life Live, brought to you by the LaPorte Hospital. Today's segment, of course. They have a white, what looks to be like pimple underneath their tongue area in their mouth, and was wondering if that could be related to, I've been drinking a lot of orange juice and lemonade. Can you ask the pharmacist, is that normal? Even though I know he's not a doctor, nor do you two play doctors. And is there something that they could utilize from the pharmacy that would help them? It's bothering them, obviously.
Yeah, I actually don't have a lot of advice on this one. It
Okay.
almost kind of sounds like it could be almost like a canker sore or something
okay.
that
That's what it sounds like to me, too.
should go away naturally.
Okay. Do you
They
suggest
do.
like a salt? Or like, because I've heard in past where you may have problems in your mouth where people will gargle with
salt water?
With salt water. I'm just throwing that out there. Again, I don't know, but what, you know.
Yeah, so basically what salt water is going to do is that you're gargling salt, so it's a solution that has more particles in it than what the cells around it may have in it. So what that would cause is maybe a draw of fluid out of the cells, into the solution. So it may help with something that is swollen. So could that potentially work to maybe reduce it? I would say yes. If it's painful, they do have like benzocaine, oral benzocaine, like Orajel. I've probably speak about it a little bit
Yeah, we
previously
have
with
talked about.
toddlers. They do have stuff called Orajel that can numb your mouth. So if it's something like that, you could use that as like a topical analgesic. I would really just follow along with it, and if it's not resolving, I would definitely go see a
You know,
doctor. But it almost sounds like a canker sore.
Okay,
to me.
good.
That's a canker sore is kind of
Thank
right
you.
along the lines of another question that a listener had asked about. Is there any product that can help with a swollen taste bud? I realize that's
And where
not
would
under
that-
the tongue
and where
or in
would
the
that
mouth,
be
but
at?
on
Where-
your tongue.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I read that question and I kind of chuckled to myself because I thought, I mean, who hasn't had that at some point? I've never heard of something to help make it go away. It just
Can
kind
I
of
ask, is
has
that
to
something
clear
from
up.
doing hot coffee, or is that from
Oh no, I think anything could.
make it?
Is that
happen?
true, Jeremy? I mean, I know in my own history, I've
Yes.
had a swollen taste bud before, but it's not. It's very infrequent that it's happened, and I can't. I never used anything for
Are
it. It
you
was more
like-
aggravating than anything.
Right. Is it making you talk weird?
But someone
too?
asked about that. So along with the canker sore kind
Mm-hmm.
of idea, the text you just got is that would they just do the same thing? Maybe an Orajel. I mean, I can't imagine putting it on your tongue, but I mean, maybe if that would actually help.
Yeah. So basically, my recommendation is probably going to be about the same for that. The issue with a swollen taste bud would be, is it really a swollen taste bud? Is it a cyst? Does it
Oh.
go away and come back?
Okay.
Has it been permanent? How long has it been permanent? So do you smoke? Do you chew? Do you do stuff like that where maybe it's a sign of something else that is worse? If I had something and I just knew it was a swollen taste bud, I would just take stuff for pain. So you could use something
Okay.
like Orajel if you thought that would help. I would probably just use Tylenol or Advil,
Yeah.
which
that-
again you could even use in the other case that we just talked about.
That's a good point about
Yeah,
if it does
my
reoccur.
recommendation here is, how long have you had it? Has it been around for a while? If it has, you should probably go see the doctor.
Absolutely. Very good. There are a lot of risk factors with those other things. I was just, simply thinking of swollen taste bud, but that's a great point. Just in case it is reoccurring or anything like that, definitely call your doctor if it's not going to just go away.
I thought of what a great question this was when you and I were chatting in our pre-show meeting about the deodorant question.
Oh, yeah.
Which a lot
The
of
heat.
people, a lot of men, a lot of women, but I'll tell you, a lot of younger women that are in that high school, sophomore, junior, senior,
Yes.
collegiate, do sports, they are affected by deodorant and deodorant not working. You want to talk about that
I
question?
think especially teens,
Yeah.
boys and girls.
Guys, too.
Their bodies are changing so much.
Absolutely.
But, in this kind of heat that we've been having.
Absolutely crazy.
It seems like I know lots of teens and even preteens as they're going into those years that are using deodorants and stuff. They don't always all work.
You're right.
So, and in this kind of heat, do you know specifically, Jeremy, if there is an over-the-counter deodorant, antiperspirant that you could recommend for a strong deodorant for someone that's having issues? Or is that something that they could talk to their doctor? Is there prescription forms of that stuff?
Good question.
Yeah, so the active ingredient in most deodorants, actually probably all the good ones, is called aluminum zirconium. And it's an aluminum-based compound that it basically just completely clogs those pores so that sweat isn't produced under your armpits.
Wow.
And that's basically how they function. So what I would do is try to find a product that had the highest concentration of that in it. I think the really good ones have 15 to 20% of aluminum zirconium in them. You can get prescription grade deodorant that has a higher percentage in it. So you could definitely look that way. So what I would do, and actually this actually hits home for me a little bit, because when I was a senior, I felt like my deodorant wasn't working at all. I could feel like sweat trickling down my side. So here's a little truth for you guys. And I struggled trying to find something that worked, and I tried many different products. So I kind of feel like gels tend to wash away more quickly, so they don't work as well.
Okay.
I don't even know if they make sprays anymore, but I never even look at a spray because I don't feel like they do a good job at all.
I'm
And they always
afraid.
make armpits burn.
I think it would be weird.
So,
Yeah.
I recommend a white solid deodorant. I think they work the best. They plug the pores really well. And I know that Right Guard has a 90 one that says 96 hours on it
Jeez.
and will last at temperatures up to 120 degrees.
Wow.
Holy
So
cow.
never actually use that product. The one that I use is a 72-hour one, and it's a white solid, and it works fabulous.
Well,
Now, in
that's
case
good.
if anybody's wondering about like an organic baking soda, more natural product, those products do not have the aluminum zirconium in them. I have actually tried to go a more natural route before. It is actually more recently, so in the last half a year, we'll say, and they work okay. If you're having a real problem, they won't work. But if you're past that age where you're not having issues sweating anymore,
Yeah.
you could potentially use these. But it's more of a fragrance cover. So like I notice that if I'm wearing it, I'm outside working and it's 95 degrees and the humidity is really high, it I start to smell. And so
Oh.
if I know I'm going to be outside doing some hard labor, I put on regular deodorant.
Or if you know you're going to be around a crowd.
I'm in the hospital and air conditioning all day,
Yeah.
I might go for a more natural product. There are some links with how much aluminum you get in your body and like mental disorders when you get older, like Alzheimer's.
Wow.
I
Very
heard that
deep
once.
connection with that, and I think a lot of medical professionals will say that's it's not true. Of course, I know I said this on the show several times, is that I always err on the caution that the
Yeah.
least amount of chemicals that you can use on your body, the better off that you're going to be over time, whether it's medication or not medication. So I try to limit my real deodorant use, and I actually do use a natural, organic deodorant based on what I'm doing that day, or if I
Yeah.
even know.
I think that's a good point.
The thing
Yeah.
I know is I know that solids are they're really viewable, the white ones. So if you're going out to an event, I would say I don't like gels, but I might keep one stocked. If I was a female and I wear strapless dresses and things like that, where you can see the armpits and you don't want to see the white deodorant, then I would use a clear gel
Yeah.
in those cases.
Someone
But
ju-
only for select events.
Yeah, someone just said in relation to that, my armpits are discolored dark in the deodorant I use. Doesn't burn, does work. Should I be concerned? So in other words, under their armpit area, it's a little darker. Is that
Is that due to the deodorant or
well?
just
That's what
due-
they're saying. The deodorant doesn't burn. The deodorant works. Should I be concerned? Should I be concerned? And I don't know. I personally, if it's working and it's not burning, why change it? But I mean, what would you say?
I've never heard of deodorant necessarily discoloring
Right. So
somebody's
maybe it's
armpit
just-
before, but
Maybe it's their
there's
pigment.
there's always
Absolutely.
a lot of possible drug reactions and things like that. I wouldn't be surprised if you look somewhere on a label someplace it would say could cause discoloration of skin or something. Um, is it a new product that maybe she used and her skin became darker after she just started using it? Has it always been a little bit darker? Some
Texture.
people have varying degrees of hair follicles. So, obviously some people have hairier armpits than others.
Yeah.
So their skin under there may look a little bit darker because they just have more hair follicles there. And if it's not shaved like every single day, then it might just appear darker.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing some
That
things
makes
out.
sense.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
great
it may be
information,
completely
right.
unrelated to the deodorant.
And
That's what I was thinking. too. That
Texter, if
could
you have
just
any more
be-
insight to that, please feel free to instant text us here at Younger Life Live. Rick Federighi, Mary Anthony. Jeremy, of course, asked the pharmacist today, which
That's
I
right.
love.
I know, I
We
love
got
it.
a whole plethora of great questions.
We do. The next question is one that definitely hits home in my house. It says, what options are there for a person that is trying to stop excessively biting their nails? I'm not really a nail biter, but I do have two of my children are
Really?
terrible nail biters. And I'm always saying, for one, it's gross. I mean, the germs that you're, getting, it's pretty gross.
You
But-
think there's a lot of germs under your
Oh,
nails?
your nails harbor tons of germs because you can't always wash them all out.
Right. You're absolutely
So
right.
you do get a lot of germs out of there. But besides that, it's just gross, and it's an annoying habit for those that are around those two kids. I'm always saying, stop biting your nails. Why are you just chewing away?
Well, I guess maybe, the product could be like, don't bite nails. Like you put it on their fingernails while they're sleeping, and then they get up and then
Well,
they.
do you know this is why I loved this question, because I said, I was telling my kids that we got this question in, and they said, "Oh, don't even ask." I said, "Oh, I'm going to." And
Yeah.
I hope
you're listening.
I tease them all the time that there's got to be some sort of polish out there.
Yes.
That
Well, think about isn't there one for the thumb sucking?
This sounds mean, but years ago I read that, and I read that it's just gross, and I always tease them that there's going to be a poop polish of some sort that will deter you from even putting your hands near your face.
You're gross.
Isn't that
Mama.
mean? That I said that, and I said
That would deter me, that's for sure.
I know, no kidding, right? So I said, I'm asking this question. I
Good
loved
question.
this. I was so excited when obviously some other households dealing with this as well. It sounds like it's this person trying to quit, but I want to know for my kids, what can I do to them? What can I do to stop it?
Yeah, so it actually turns out that it's actually more of a habit. There's no like real cause. It's not typically like a vitamin
Right.
deficiency or anything like that. There's actually a link that children and teens tend to bite their nails more, and it typically goes away as they go into adulthood. So that's just a little tidbit of information. So if your kids are biting your nails, they'll probably grow out of it. As far as like what you can put, probably the best thing to do would be to try to just break the habit. So
Yeah.
what are some things that we can do to break habits? What we could do is cover the fingernails somehow. So somehow wearing gloves or things like that. Now I know as an adult and in the summer it'd be weird going out and
It is a little
wearing
weird.
gloves so you're not biting your fingernails. They do make a nail polish that
They do.
Told you.
Yeah.
Malava. I think it's made in Switzerland. There is a finger polish that you can get that has a bad taste to it, and it will prevent you from chewing your nails.
Look at that.
For
read-
smaller kids and children, they do have an over-the-counter product you can kind of put on their fingernails or their hands. It's called No Bite, and that basically what that does is keeps kids from sucking on their thumb or their fingers. We're actually looking into maybe getting that product for our little girl who likes to put these two fingers in her mouth and she sucks on them basically all day long.
Oh,
Wow.
I had one like that. I love that.
Yeah.
Don't
Wait,
stop
what
it.
are
It's cute.
What are you talking about? Don't stop
Yeah.
it. Doesn't it promote buck teeth?
Oh, not really.
Yeah,
Her
well-
palate is malformed due to it, but
They do say it may help kind of make your teeth misaligned, so that's kind of what we're more worried about. And I had bad teeth when I was young, and who knows, maybe I sucked on my finger or my thumb for years and years
Yeah,
and years. And
yeah.
that's why I had bad teeth. And
Yeah.
then, I have my son, his teeth look perfect, and he never sucked on his thumb or never sucked on a pacifier or anything.
wow.
So I don't know if
Aw.
there's really truth to that or not.
Do
But
you know-
anyways, back to the thing is that also you just need to be aware of what you're actually doing, and
Yeah.
so that when you're going to bite your teeth, you need to try to keep yourself from doing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be just more of a willpower, and as you do that, you just have to try to increase that time. Every time it occurs, longer and longer, to try to break the habit.
Absolutely. That's
That's a great question, and I'm glad you brought it up.
A competing behavior. So say you like to chew on your fingernails. What is something that you can do that would keep you from doing that?
Count money.
Could be tapping your finger on a desk.
Yeah.
Or making fists or something like that. I think another thing that might help is chew some gum. I think that would be perfect because if you're chewing some gum, you might not have that desire to actually chew on your fingernails.
Yeah.
And maybe you would do both. Chew on something else. Get something to kind of just chew on to kind of help you break from chewing on your fingernails. But then again, maybe once you start chewing on something else, maybe you're going to have a habit doing that too, and you have to have another way to break that habit. But I think that's all good advice. You put like those, I have no idea what they're made out of, but the fake fingernails on, Nobody probably likes chewing those, so you could put those on. That'd probably keep you from chewing your fingernails.
I
And I
won't
know
put
that's
those on my
advice
son.
to guys out there who have those issues, but so I think those are several things, probably some of the best methods you may be able to use to try to stop chewing your nails.
It's kind of funny. Have you ever, and I'm just visualizing because I have ladies in my life, my two daughters, my wife, and just some of their friends where you've been with them and they pull off their nails one by one. It freaks me out. It's like, doesn't it hurt?
That's
You know,
funny.
in recent weeks, Mary and Jeremy, there have been reports out about floss, and the going back and forth is flossing good for your teeth? Is floss, is there a question on that? Jeremy, I know none of us here are doctors, but I would like to ask you, is there a good, because I personally use the sticks where the floss, I don't use the actual floss like in a roll. I use the ones where
Flosser.
they're like disposable and you throw them away.
Yeah.
Do you recommend using a specific floss? And have you heard anything about the floss situation that's going on? Last several weeks, it's pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's funny because I just read something about it. So yeah, apparently it's out there. Let me just state this right out. Another truth moment is that I'm not the best flosser on earth. I do floss sometimes, but there's definitely people who are better than I am at flossing. So I hope what they're saying is completely true, that flossing really doesn't make a difference or not.
Oh boy, fingers crossed on my end, I'll tell you.
I think that it probably does, and I would recommend that people should floss daily.
Yeah.
Whether they do or not, that's on them. What I do know about floss, it doesn't matter really what type of floss that you do use. What I have heard is concerning is using like a wax floss. So I would stay away from a wax floss because it can either leave a coating on the tooth or maybe pack some stuff in there more to get wax in spots that you shouldn't have it. So the way that I understand it is you always want to use a floss that doesn't have wax on it. So that'd be my only real recommendation.
Yeah.
And
That's
yes, you should
interesting.
probably floss. Here's what I feel really confident in saying is that if you floss, it's not going to hurt you to floss.
Right.
So if there's a situation that we're looking at and it's controversial one way or another, and you know that doing something may be beneficial for you, but not doing it, well, let me say that again. If you know that doing something like flossing isn't going to hurt your teeth, but maybe a huge benefit, and not doing it is likely a bad benefit, then there's no reason not to do it.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter what their papers say. It's probably a good idea to floss.
I hadn't even heard this. I hadn't even heard that there's could be a downside to flossing. I hadn't heard that. So it's always the goal to make sure that everybody flosses every day, but I can tell you that I'm not a great
Well, it's tough
flosser
too
either.
because you do it, and I think a lot of people, it's just frustrating. It takes a while. That's why I use the sticks, because I could I could use them like 4 or 5 teeth, throw that one away,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
the next one, throw it away.
Yeah, that's
And it drives me nuts when I see people with matchbooks, pens, pen caps, and especially, this is the gross one, dollar bills. Have you ever seen people put dollar
No.
bills? Oh, well, maybe
Do they not
it's-
know how many germs are on money?
Well, I know.
I mean, ew. Talk about, at least
Ew.
bite your fingernails then. Don't put money in your mouth. That's gross.
Yeah.
Okay,
But-
so
and just to clarify, I don't think all the reports I said just say that it may not
yeah.
have an additional benefit. So the report, as far as I know, wasn't that if you floss, it could be bad for your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
The way I understand it is that it's just saying there may not be a benefit to it.
Okay. Well, that's
But
a
I would
good
say
piece.
that there probably is.
I'm sure. I mean, to me, it makes
Yeah.
perfect
Well, you
sense.
get
The flossing
food out
is
of there,
good
let's
for you.
be honest.
But I do, you know what, that was really valid though, Jeremy, when you mentioned the wax. I could understand why that wouldn't necessarily be beneficial if you're losing some of that in between the teeth. I mean, that could potentially cause a gap and other things to stick there eventually. I mean, I could see that side of it, but it isn't going to hurt you if you do it. So I think that's good too. Until they sort all that out, for you flossers, keep going. And for the rest of us, at least try. So I had a question that I thought was completely relevant to the summer months that we're in right now. We had someone ask us, can you tell us if there are real risks involved with handling frogs, lizards, or turtles? And then I am saying is just hand washing. I know everybody worries about salmonella, stuff like that.
Sure.
When you're talking reptile stuff. But isn't just washing your hands good enough? I mean, my kids are always picking up frogs, and we have a turtle, and I'm just always preaching, wash your hand. You know, if you're holding the turtle or you pick up a frog, fine, come in, scrub your hands.
Scrub, though, is the key because they always say 15 to 25 seconds minimum on a wash for a hand. That's what I have been beat into my head since I've been a little boy.
Yes.
Not just wash, honey.
Yeah, scrub
all around. Am I right on that? What's up with that?
Top and bottom in between. That is how we keep them clean.
Oh, Mary Anthony.
So anyways, so
I'll
Jeremy,
have to start using that around the
I
hospital.
like that.
are there real risks involved with handling any of these little critters?
Yeah, there's absolutely a risk to it, and in fact, there's so much of a risk to it that I believe there's a whole. I believe the CDC has a whole web page about it.
Oh, my.
So you can actually go to the CDC, print out some posters that talk about amphibians and how you should handle them and how you should wash your hands. Washing your hands is the best way. Washing your hands is always one of the best ways to keep your hands clean. If you don't have access to wash your hands, you can always use a hand sanitizer. So I would always recommend, if you're playing with turtles, if you're playing with frogs and lizards, to always keep them out of the kitchen and around places where you handle food and stuff like that. And always wash your hands after you play with them. Not only is your hands an issue, but their habitats too.
Yeah.
So if you have a aquarium with a turtle or some frogs and lizards in it, their whole habitat could be a holding place for salmonella and other bacteria. So you would want to be cautious with their entire habitat. So if they're just playing around with the turtle's water or stuff like that, they need to go clean their hands and be especially careful with some of that stuff, and also try to keep that as segregated from places where we prepare food also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that. And my daughters through the years had so many different little
critters,
reptiles, animals, critters, and they loved them. But I know as you are, as we were, and as a lot of folks, and I'm sure Jeremy is, with his little ones, you have to be very careful about hands near the mouth, ears,
Hand
nose.
washing all the time.
Way
I mean, you know,
hand
we hand wash all the time. You know, it's just, you have to. And you know, they do want to hold their critters and stuff, but you know, like with our turtle specifically, we keep his aquarium up a little bit so they can look at him all they want to, but they really can't access the water, and they can't just get him out. They have to actually ask us, can we hold Tuck, you know, before, and then
That's his name?
Tuck. Yeah.
Cool.
And so then we get him out if that's what we're gonna do. But they
That's fabulous.
they don't, you know, I wouldn't want them to be dipping their hands in there, because that's exactly what I would be afraid of, is that they would, you know, for any reason, you know, you never know. Kids are kids. You know, they're curious, and that's fabulous, but that can also be an issue. So speaking of kids, we had another listener that sent an email. She has a 3-year-old son. He has issues with his ears when swimming, but he will not leave the plugs alone. So are there any other options for this mom and her little boy?
Yeah, so welcome to the club. I have a
really?
3-year-old with the exact same issue, and he's had he gets several ear infections a year, and I think he's actually probably borderline maybe needing tubes. So
bummer.
I'm not sure how that's going to actually play out, but I kind of feel like it might play out. He may get tubes or may not. So we're having issues with earplugs too, and I think this is a case where you really just have to try a bunch of different products, and some products that I'm actually looking at these products right now. They make a silicone cap. So basically what it is, it's like a swimmer's hat. It goes over your ears.
Oh.
It goes over like all your hairline in your ears and back here. And
Like that.
it seals everything and keeps it all dry. So you could run into the same issues of them wanting to take their cap off or things like that. But I think it's going to be a point to where you just really have to reinforce how important it is, and tell them this is to keep you from getting ear infections and things like that, or other ways that you may discipline them. But I do think it's important to protect their ears. I think ears are one of the most important organs on a child or anybody to protect, ears and eyes. So I'm always leery about those. They do make some really fancier earplugs that probably cost more money, like at dive shops and things like that. I might take a look at some of those. But I really have my eyes on the silicone cap right now.
I'm
They also have
curious.
different types of earplugs. I don't know if you're using the wax ones. You can get the wax ones and cut them down, and really just try to get them in to where it's not easy for him to get them out, but you can still get them out.
What is
So
with your
those
own
are
son? Why does he not want them in? Is it just because it's irritating? My children have never worn earplugs, and I haven't either. So is it just because they are not comfortable? Is that why he wants them out so bad? Or I mean, why is it difficult for them to leave them in, other than just because kids pick? I don't know. Is that why with your own son?
Yeah, it's really weird because when we go on a lawn tractor and stuff like that, I can put the ear protection on them, and
Yeah.
it sits over the ear.
Yeah.
I really think it's just an irritation to him. There's
Okay.
something in his ear, and he can't hear as well with
Yes,
it,
absolutely. That makes
and
sense.
he just doesn't like it.
Okay.
Can I throw something out there?
They're not old enough to reason with yet. To
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
hey, you have to leave this alone. You're gonna get ear.
That's it.
He's just not quite there.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. I don't know.
All right, so here's what I'm throwing up in the camera. I never had to wear earplugs. I'm a swimmer for all my life. And then I got into my adult years and in my 30s, now into my late 40s, and I have to. So when we were just in California, so I brought these in because this is $1.99 for those folks that are watching us on youtube.com. $1.99 comes with a nose plug, and these particular ear plugs for me are squishy, like to the point where they're gentle. They're almost as gentle
Like
as
foam.
some of the foam, but the foam ones to me are big. So let me tell you a trick as a parent, what I do. My daughter Devin recently had to start wearing earplugs because it was affecting the ears, nose, throat thing. I pull down gently on my earlobe, gently, and I put it in there with, you put it in there gently with your finger and you squeeze it in, and it almost is like a suction. But there are also ones where I just use with my godson Cole when we were in Mission Beach, California, and we were swimming and he was having problems. These, I had another set, brand new, obviously, as you guys can see, these are in the package. I brought these for swimming this weekend. So, but there's ones that are really, really thin and they're almost ribbed, and they're for little kids. And again,
Really?
I pull down my earlobes and they gently push right in. So you guys may want to try, again, $1.99.
Yeah.
And you get usually the free case and the free at your 24/7. So I'm sure it's your local pharmacy. And then I wanted to show this. These are nose plugs that a lot of people that have to wear earplugs wear nose plugs. I don't like nose plugs because it hurts my nose. But I'm just letting you know,
Yeah, I would.
I mean, but I'm telling you, earplugs for your little one, all you guys, and the folks that are listening out there, try the different ones. They're very affordable, and it's
Yeah.
worth it. The foam ones work great because even at concerts, people use, a lot of the people, for their little ones, and or if they're getting older or music tones affect them.
Yeah.
Musicians use them. So I'm just throwing them out there. I'm all about my ears, nose, and throat. So I'm with you on that, Jeremy. So I just
Yeah, those are great ideas.
Yeah.
Especially the ribbed ones. I have a pair of those and they work great.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, it can't hurt to try, especially if it is affordable.
Yeah.
It's nice to, you got to keep looking. And especially in the case of this mother with her child, hopefully, if you keep at it, same with Jeremy with his son, if you keep trying, hopefully, eventually you'll find one that they aren't as, prone to want to rip out.
Sure.
That they adjust, and then it would be a little easier.
Can I tell you what
to-
happens with those in defense of all the children? Because it happens to me and it drives me nuts because I freak out. I will not go underwater if I don't have earplugs ever.
Really?
At this point in my life, they pop out. And so I think if you spin it differently on the child and say, let me see and let them show you, like you show them how to put it in. But I'm telling you, that's why my doctor told me, I started, my ear, nose, throat specialist, started pulling down gently on the lobes, and then it's
Goes
like a
in
suction.
a little easier. Yeah.
And then when you want to pull it out, you gently pull it out. So, I mean, something to try for
Something
our
to try.
viewers and listeners. Seriously.
Well, hopefully that it works for this mom, and hopefully with Jeremy's son
Welcome
too.
to Earplug Talk.
Yeah, no kidding. Ear, nose, and throat. Okay, we had another listener ask us how much vitamin C is recommended daily for an adult, and can it harm you if you take too much?
Hey, that's a great question. And I think we should have a history lesson here. So
Okay.
let's go back a few hundred years ago to where you see what happens when you have vitamin C deficiency. So way back in the 1700s, think the colonial times where they got ships and they're sailing from England over to the U.S. and they're out at sea for long periods of time. So scurvy was a huge issue because they didn't have the appropriate types of foods to eat, because a lot of the vegetables and things like that would go bad and rot and die, and so they didn't have all the appropriate diet. So what would happen is they don't have enough vitamin C in their systems, and one of the main things would be that their mouth would basically just start rotting. So that's kind of like the basic start of scurvy, and it's just something that's terrible. That's easily fixed by having some vitamin C. And I think what they ended up doing is they came up with a way to ferment some things, and they could have that fermented vegetable stuff that had vitamin C in it, and that's how scurvy became non-issue anymore in the colonial times.
Wow.
So if you have scurvy, and here's how they actually treat it today, is with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, which really isn't that much.
Oh, that
So
sounds
your-
like a crazy ton.
Your daily recommended, or the most vitamin C that I think that anybody could really take or have and is perfectly fine, is 2,000 milligrams. So the daily recommendation can be twice as much of what they use to treat scurvy, which is actually a vitamin C deficiency disease.
Wow.
So I see there's no reason for you to take any more than that. There's absolutely no reason for it. If you take more than that, it is a water-soluble vitamin, so it doesn't necessarily stay in your body. It gets eliminated just right through your urine. So if you take too much, it's probably not going to be an issue. But I would say that there is absolutely no reason to take more than 2,000 milligrams a day. There just isn't, or 1,000, because scurvy is the worst thing that can happen to you if you don't have vitamin C, and that's what they treat it with.
Wow. I didn't
That's a
realize
lot.
recommended dose would
Yeah.
be that high.
Ever. That was the first time I ever heard of that.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
pretty-
I do take a daily vitamin, but
I wonder how much in your daily vitamin C, how many milligrams are in that, so.
I take one a day for
Yeah.
men, and it's the blue bottle. And then I know that coming up, there's going to be a silver bottle.
How funny.
I think when people typically take vitamin C, it's usually in 500 milligrams.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see why. If you want to take vitamin C as a daily supplement, 500 milligrams a day is going to be more than sufficient. Again, maximum what I have seen is up to 2,000. There's no reason to go above that. But I do want to talk about some other vitamins just real quick.
Okay.
Sure,
Sure.
please.
Some vitamins are water soluble, some are fat soluble. So a fat soluble vitamin is A, D, K, and E. So if you take larger quantities than what you need to take of those vitamins, what happens is that they're fat soluble. So what do? They get absorbed into your tissues. So you can theoretically overdose yourself on those vitamins,
Yeah.
and technically you can die. If I remember this correctly, I believe it is a polar bear's liver has so much vitamin A in it that if you take one bite of a polar bear's liver, it will kill you.
Oh, my goodness.
gosh.
You guys might want to Google that just to double check. So
Still, that's incredible. That's crazy. What a cool
So
fact.
vitamins can definitely be detrimental, is really my main point.
Yeah.
Vitamin C, probably not. No problems.
Yeah, good point. Again, talk to your doctor, because I think that's a great point. People think, oh, why can't I take as much of one vitamin as I want to and not another? But I mean, it literally can kill you. I think that's a great point. Children, really fast, because I know we have a couple more questions, but children love, I'm going to say Flintstone vitamins, just because
Sure, the taste.
of the type.
Well,
Yes.
the gummy ones now, too, for the last
and
many
before,
years.
even
Yeah.
before the gummy ones, my kids would ask, can
Yep.
I have another vitamin? No, it can kill you. It literally can. The iron in those, your body can just start shutting down if you have too much vitamins. You cannot
But
have
I don't
those. That's
think
why
you-
you keep them put up.
But do you think you could actually OD on vitamins? Like-
Yes, you can. You can literally, can't you, Jeremy? I mean,
Well,
you were just talking about
you
tissue.
could on vitamin A. I mean, obviously vitamin A, if
Yeah.
you can have one bite of a polar bear's liver and that it's enough to kill a human, then technically you could. And I
Yeah.
would, but the ones that I mentioned really are pretty specific.
Yeah.
A, D, K, and E. They absorb into your body so they could build up and cause issues.
Yeah.
Do I think that somebody is really going to overdose on a vitamin? Probably not, but I'm not going to take a bottle a day either.
Right. But I bet children, if they got into a bottle of children's vitamins, whatever brand they have, and ate a ton of those, I bet you they would, at least if nothing else, be severely sick because of the overload on the body. I mean, I think that would be very scary. I've always kind of been a freak about the vitamins because it scares me. I mean, I want them to take them, but I'm afraid to death they're going to get into them.
Can I throw out something from my childhood? We got a minute or so left. My favorite taste ever, and still to this day, and I'm not promoting any products, but it reminded me of a push-up, St. Joseph aspirins, the orange ones.
Really?
The little baby ones.
I don't even know that I've ever had one.
Oh my gosh. Jeremy, do you ever use those for your children, or have you ever had those, the little St. Joseph aspirins?
Yeah, so the recommendation is to not use aspirin on children's anymore. It's
Okay.
a drug class, salicylate.
Good info.
And it can actually, man, my brain's not working right now. There's
Oh, that's-
No, it's okay. We can save it for next
We've
time.
thrown a lot at you. It's okay.
If children, I would say I would not give to anybody under 16.
Okay.
Aspirin could. I'll look it up and let you guys know.
Good, we'll save it for
you know
next
what? I'll
time.
put that on the next one. I will
Good.
put that on my list that I saved to make sure that I don't forget to ask you that. Okay, this is a
I
silly
can't
one.
believe it's slipping my mind. It should be
Dude,
just
it's
a very
no big deal.
elementary answer.
It's just, you're getting old.
Well, we've thrown a lot at you. Are you serious? We've thrown a lot at you. I'm curious. There was this one I loved because I really wanted to know. In the TV media stuff, Star has lost a bunch of weight, and they claimed that it was, I don't know how to say this, so Garcinia Cambogia? How do you say it?
Okay, we've got a minute and 30. I'm going to spell it. We're going to save this for next time. Garcinia, Cambogia, Cambogia.
Is that real? I just want to know. Does that really work? And where do you buy it? No,
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I think Cambogia is how you say the second
Bogia?
one.
Okay.
But I think we should just call it GC, just for
Okay,
the
there we go.
show's sake, because
Love
I'm
it.
not sure how to say it, and it's crazy. So technically, it's actually like a tropical fruit. I believe they use the rind, is what it actually is,
Okay.
and it's mainly found in India is where it comes from. So there are some very weak studies on this too, that very short-term studies, not greater than 12 weeks, that if you're taking it for 12 weeks and you have a strict diet, and people who have placebo are on the same diet, and people who are getting GC are on the same diet, and one group, of course, was taking GC with it, and one group was just having a strict diet. Over 12 weeks, the patient with GC lost like 1 more pound.
Oh, that's
Okay,
it.
hold that thought.
Strict diet.
Perfect.
Okay.
So
Hold that
I would
thought.
say that there's no scientific evidence that this works at all.
Okay.
And there's actually several studies, and they all basically conclude the same thing, that basically you may lose a little bit more weight, up to a pound, maybe 2 pounds more over 12 weeks. Probably not worth the cost. I know this dietary supplement originally was a fruit from India, but they actually use it as like a spice and something they put on foods.
You're awesome. Well, thank you for
Thanks,
another
Jeremy.
great segment. Hey, we got a couple
Sorry to
people.
bombard you with so much.
That's right. Ellie asked about teeth whitener. We'll put that on the next one.
I'll put that on the next
And we've got a
one.
whole bunch of other stuff. On behalf of us all at Gerard Media LLC.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
And Younger Life Live. We love you. Bye.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thanks.
CBS's Nancy Cordes says new polls give a boost to Hillary Clinton.
It appears that a combination